All right, we're pleased to welcome in from hockeyinsideout.com. It's a must-read after every game. His column is up there. You can follow him on Twitter, @HabsBlogger. It is the immortal Mike Boone. How you doing, sir?
I'm just fine. Semi-immortal on an early morning.
So the immortality fluctuates based on your level of being awake.
And my desire to live forever.
Ah, yes, very key. Sean Coleman joining us here in studio. Canadians win 5-4 last night against the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, Mike, what I like about your perspective as well is, in addition to covering the team for hockeyinsideout.com, you're also reading all of these throngs and throngs of comments, right? So you're getting the pulse of what the fans are thinking. Have people climbed back on the bandwagon after this 5-4 win? Are they still nervous because it wasn't crisp? What's the take from the fans after last night?
Am I feeling their pulse or their prostate? It kind of depends on the level of commentary that we get. I think there's it's a hallmark of Hockey Inside Out, previously Habs Inside Out, that they're never happy. So, particularly through recent games, there have been the predictable complaints about the lines, and David Desharnais, a favorite whipping boy among our commentariat. I don't read them all. I have kind of my favorites. It would be impossible to read them all. We get an unbelievable high number of comments on my game blogs, but again, they're typical Canadians fans. They're never satisfied. They'll always pick at a scab here or bitch about something there, which makes it fun, I guess. You can't be smug about these things. That would turn us into what, New York Yankees fans or something? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, so looking at the game last night, a 5-4 win over Philadelphia, kind of a messy one. I guess the breakdowns in the defensive side still quite evident, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know if they were so much breakdowns as they couldn't keep up with the Flyers. It's amazing, Matthew, how the level of speed in the league. You look at teams like the Leafs, they're a fast team these days. The Flyers just seem to skate circles around the Canadians, particularly in the offensive zone, which I found kind of surprising. I thought there was a particular mismatch when the Andrei Markov Jeff Petrie pairing was on the ice on defense, but just in general, we've since the beginning of the season we've loved the fourth line. That's because they're the best skating line on the team. And it's a skaters' league, so I think something has to be done.
One player who looked like he had his skates dipped in cement was Max Pacioretty last night. Only one goal in his last 9 games, and I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about his play these days?
You want to get me started on our beloved captain, huh? Such leadership. I guess he's throughout his career he's been a bit of a streaky player. But, the talent is undeniably there. The guy is a goal scorer. I wonder about the leadership quotient. I don't know. Barring a 15-game losing streak, I can't see them ripping the C off his chest and putting it on Weber's jersey. But, there's something about his game that doesn't do it for me. He's... I hate to lapse into Don Cherryism, but he seems like a soft player to me. I want a little more grit in the captain of the team, and that they've had trouble kind of mixing and matching his lines this year. He's on his third center now, and we're 12 games into the season.
Right.
So there are issues. There are definitely issues there, but he'll come around. I mean, the guy. I wouldn't dispute his scoring ability. It's his leadership and his grit that, or lack of same, that puts me off a little bit.
Pacioretty last night, 20 minutes, 10 seconds of ice time. He picked up an assist. He also was a +1 in the Canadians' win. Meanwhile, you look at that fourth line, and we heard the call from Michel Lacroix with the 3 stars call last night. Philip Deneau gets the top star last night, just playing so well this season, and looks like he's getting better and better. I don't think his ceiling is top 6, but picking up an assist, looking phenomenal once again with Flynn and Mitchell, and all three of those guys even on the plus-minus ledger, just like they were in the 10-0 loss, unbelievably. It's hard to get enamored with a fourth line, but I feel like I am.
I feel exactly the same. I don't think they've played a bad game since the season began. They get a tough assignment every night, and then they bust their butts, man. I mean, they can all skate. They work hard. Torrey Mitchell, wow. I mean, he hasn't had a bad shift all season, as far as I can tell. And he's making his line mates better, particularly Dano. Dano is going to finishing school with Torrey Mitchell, and he's going to come out of it. Yeah, I kind of agree. Is he a top six? Probably not, but I think he's definitely a top nine, and we could see that perhaps before the season is over.
Torrey Mitchell, 64% in the face-off circle last night, so doing very, very well. And even Flynn was picked up a win in the face-off circle. So such a well-rounded lineup. We're chatting with Mike Boone from Hockey Inside Out. Great column after every game. And I was just looking at the column again as we're talking, and you absolutely are right about the fans just using David Desharnais as a whipping boy. He's not my favorite player. I mean, if he goes anywhere near the boards, he's going to end up on his stomach. It's just a fact within 3 seconds. He cannot stay standing up anywhere near the boards if another player is near him. However, he still has that vision on the ice, and he still contributes in his own way. But one fan yesterday that you guys posted, no points, no assists, no face-off wins. I mean, this is just, I guess, part and parcel, right? Every game, if they don't win, it's David Desharnais' fault?
Yeah, because a certain segment of our readership on HIL, and I guess a certain segment of Canadians' fan family in general, think that the only reason he's on the team is that he's a Quebecois. And I don't, that analysis makes me a little queasy. I think there should be, I'd be delighted if there were more Quebec-born players on the team, actually. But I think, David Desharnais, God, where did he start? In the East Coast Hockey League or something like that? He's earned promotions every step of the way. Did they give him a contract that was maybe a little too long and a little too rich? Well, perhaps so. But I wish that were the only contract error they'd ever made in the history of the club. And the guy. It's been a while since I've gone to the room, lazy bum that I am. But I recall David Desharnais as being one of the really good guys in the room, always cooperative with the press, and I hate to see him as a whipping boy, really.
You mock a bit of the contract for David Desharnais, but Thomas Plekanec, $6 million. Last night he finally scores his first goal of the season. Can the Canadians get a good return on $6 million if all he does is score once every 10 games?
Yeah, that's a bit problematic. Maybe at the trade deadline, if a cup contender was looking for his particular combination of skills, because he's a good but not great hockey player. He brings it every night. He has tremendous work ethic, terrific penalty killer, still has decent speed at his age, but he's not, he is in no way a first-line or second-line center. He's just been forced into that role because of the personnel of the Montreal Canadiens. But I'm kind of a reluctant Plex basher just because the guy is a good, honest hockey player and works hard. And I believe this is the last year of the DLA. So you can kind of look at that rich contract as a late reward for meritorious service or something. But you're absolutely right. It makes trading him highly problematic.
Mike Boone joining us here on Weekend Game Plan's Habs Breakfast as we talk about the Canadiens' 5-4 win last night at the Bell Center against the Philadelphia Flyers. So you have fourth liners that are getting 12, 14 minutes in ice time. Dano over 14 minutes in ice time. And then you have Arturi Lehkonen, who had 8 minutes of ice time last night. He picked up a penalty. We saw in preseason the shot that can be explosive. We saw the speed, but at some point, we know that if he doesn't stick with the team, they're gonna ship him overseas. At some point, will they not bench him and give Daniel Carr a shot because they have to get some production out of that roster spot?
He got hurt last night, Lehkonen. I didn't notice it in the game. I think I read it perhaps in in Francois Gagnon's column on RDS or something like that. But he got hurt. He didn't play in the third period. So that.
But overall, we've seen a pattern of his ice time kind of going down and him not getting the production. I didn't know that either, but he's not getting that production overall. Do you think there's a chance that Carr comes in and they bench him for a game if indeed he is healthy anyway?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Because I don't know who else you would bench if you want to get Carr into the lineup.
Right.
I thought perhaps Byron, but Byron plays his ass off.
I would like to see him.
They
used him on the power play for 30 seconds last night, and just his sheer speed, being able to move around when you have some space in the offensive zone, when you have that man advantage, and then obviously his hands. We've seen him on a breakaway score, so I would like to see more of him on the power play.
Again, size is the issue, of course, but he's just tremendous. If you had 18 guys who skated like him, you'd never lose a game. And he plays hard. The guy is he's not the richest contract on the team, but he earns every nickel of it. I'm a big Byron booster. I mean, he's a terrific player. Very good pickup for the Canadians. That's what Bergeron seems to excel at. He is picking up guys you've never heard of, such as Dano. And they pan out to be very decent players. It's Canadians. Well, in seasons past, anyway, it's the marquee signings that sometimes don't turn out too well. I'm looking at you, Andrew Shaw. Come on, get it together.
Yeah, there's a bit of disappointment level there, isn't there?
Beginning to his season.
Yeah,
sorry, I was blabbing through your question.
bit of a disappointment, though. I agree with you. The physical element is there on and off, but I really was actually
meaning taking dumb penalties.
Well, there's that, but I was actually looking forward to seeing him contribute a little more offensively. You look at the numbers from Chicago and the ability to slot in on top lines when necessary. I'm just not seeing the scoring chances being created by him.
Yeah, I agree. I forget where my thought was going. It's early in the day, but yeah, I'm not worried. I don't see Shaw as a bust at all. The guy, again, there's a good work ethic there. He has some speed, and perhaps he is the answer to put some juice into the top lines. I don't know. We shall see.